We've all heard it. We've all seen it. Whether it's down our streets, online, on the news, on a live stream, whatever. And if you're someone like me, you've most likely cringed while seeing it. The words, Free Palestine. It even sickens me to say those two words together. As of recently, there have been many lies being spread about Israel, many false agendas, many false claims. One of these claims is that the evil colonizer Israel is taking the land from the Palestinians, which is why people have been marching to the streets and saying Free Palestine. Well, let me tell you why that's bullshit, alright? First of all, Palestine never really existed. Here's a map today, here's Israel, and before Israel got its independence in 1948, it was part of the British Empire. And yes, it was called Mandatory Palestine, but it wasn't a sovereign state, it was part of the British Empire. So I guess you could technically argue that Palestine existed, but it was a British territory, so, And before the British got their hands on the region in 1917, it was part of the Ottoman Empire for about 400 years. And before the Ottoman rule started in 1516, it was controlled by the Egyptians. And before 1291, it was the Kingdom of Jerusalem. In 970, the lands became a part of the Fatimid Caliphate. And then before that, the lands were part of the Abbasid Caliphate. And then before that, it was part of the Umayyad Caliphate. And then before that, it was part of the Rashidun Caliphate. A lot of caliphates. And between 313 and 636, it was part of the Byzantine Empire. And before that, the lands were governed by the Roman Empire. That's very interesting indeed. So you're telling me over the past 2,000 years it was ruled by the Ottomans, the Romans, the Byzantines, the Caliphates, but I did not hear one mention of a Palestine. Very interesting.
But wait a minute, what about the British Mandatory Palestine? It wasn't independent, but it's still called Palestine.
Well, there's a very simple explanation for that. The term was invented by the ancient Greeks, and they used it to describe the region and its people. The word was then adopted by Roman Emperor Hadrian. He used the word in order to undermine Jewish control over the region. For you see, before the Romans occupied the land, it was controlled by the Jews under the Kingdom of Judea. But Hadrian wanted to make sure that the Romans kept their control over the land, so he named it Palestine. The name then stuck and was used by the Ottomans and the British. So yeah, Palestine was never really a thing. It was just a name used by foreign powers to describe the region and undermine Jewish control. Wait a minute. People always say that the Jews came and stole the land and then formed the state of Israel. But before the Romans showed up 2,000 years ago, there was the state of Judea, which was controlled by the Jews. How can they be the invaders if they lived there 2,000 years ago? Oh, and that's interesting. It says that the Jews lived in Israel for almost 4,000 years.
But that can't be right. They're the invaders, right? They took it from the Palestinians, right?